Hello YouTube, and welcome to the finale of the Mawaru Penguindrum reaction series. Back here again for the final time for some more Penguindrum. Very excited to be diving in here to the conclusion of our story here today. Not really sure what to expect here. Something will happen, events will occur, and I'll have some things to say about them. The way I'm understanding this, the video's probably going to be pretty long. Or if it's not pretty long, potentially I'm going to do some stuff at the end whereby I write something down to structure my conversation a little bit better. Anyway, prepare for the worst, I guess, when it comes to theories and understanding and whatever. Either way, the best way to start the video is to start the video, and that's with the YouTube comments here today, starting here with Waifu Overdose. A lot of things in Penguindrum aren't meant to be taken literally, just like Utena. The castle wasn't a castle, it was a patriarchal illusion. I viewed Sanetoshi not as a literal ghost, but instead as the remnants of terrorism. All the hate, social injustices, and anger were brewing long before the attack and continued to exist after. He is basically an idea given a face. Momika is pretty similar in that regard. She is the incarnation of love, aka anime Jesus. I'm in full agreement. I think that this is a completely perfect, valid take. When I say stuff like, he was a ghost, whoa, I'm playing it up for the reaction a little bit. I don't literally think that he's haunting people and he's a specter, but again, it's what that specter represents. It's what all ghosts in media really represent. It's not, outside of stupid shit, it's not literally a spirit haunting you. It's meant to represent something for the character, right? I don't know, just off the top of my head, A Christmas Carol. Those ghosts aren't there because ghosts are spooky. They're there to present information to Scrooge and get him to change his ways, get him to reevaluate his life. And again, that's that extra layer to media. That again, like you say with Utena, it's why the castle's fucking cool. And when you figure out what the castle is, it becomes mega giga cool. Anyway, watch Utena, it's good. Yeah, I'm completely on board with your interpretation there, for sure. And last comment here today from Lazy Joe. As we approach the finale and the symbolism intensifies, bit of connection between the two comments there, let's look at the two ghosts behind the conflicts in the show. Why is Sanetoshi a doctor and why is Momika a little girl? We go on to reference the 95 sarin gas attack once again, specifically a situation whereby a schoolgirl spotted Kenichi Hirose acting suspiciously, and her ability to call him out at that time literally changed the car that he was going to do the terrorism on. So there's almost a real-life analog to a Momika type character saving people, even if it's not quite as direct as it is in Penguindrum, right? And again, we kind of hit the nail on the head here, and the thing that I wanted to say, I think there's a grand irony there to a doctor being the terrorist. Doctors save people. Why are you hurting people? And why does it fall on the little girl? Why does it fall on the next generation? This kind of really pure look at innocent good versus evil type stuff. Why does it fall on her to be the bigger person here, right? And again, this broader kind of concept in the show, and a lot of Ikuhara's work now that I think about it, the difference between child and adult and what that comes to represent, and who truly knows best here, right? Again, you would say it'd be the doctor, it'd be the adult, blah, 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 blah. But maybe they're just blinded by other things, by other biases, you know? Yeah, it's a fascinating conversation. And again, clearly something we'll go into with these last two episodes, right? There is going to be a grand, I wouldn't call it a standoff of sorts, but Momika will reveal herself in some way. And Sanetoshi will be there too. I'm not going to say that they're going to have a literal cowboy shootout. They could. It's not off the cards, but something like that will occur, and we'll address this type of stuff in a little bit more detail, I think. And yeah, we'll leave the YouTube comments there for today, and we'll move over to that Patreon shout out. First and foremost, hey, if you're on Patreon right now and watching this video, for starters, thank you. But also, there's a poll on the channel. There should be, if I get my ass into gear. And yeah, you get double votes in that poll. So again, just letting you know, because some patrons aren't voting, and I'm like, why would you become a patron and then not vote? It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, just letting you know. That's the important part, I guess. Either way, a big thank you to all my patrons for the entire series, really. You guys carried, did a good job, and all that kind of stuff. Those patrons were people such as Mickey Babbers, Charles AJ, Bananarama Hamadama Sama, Bobbin, Choba Christopher Konechny, Dapper Dwarf, Domobot, Ed, Fancy Question Mark, Ferdinand Hernando, Fleur Nightingale, Fried Rice, Fruit, Fusel, Gloria Natenebrae, Glyke, Greybeard, Gus N, Hans Peter, Ika, Inzuchi, Yako Yavanen, Jacob R, Jami Boo, Joran, Kasogtha, Kelvin, Clem, Nosta, Lasha840, Lick H, Lou, Master Detective, Mistake L Chen, Molly Weinberger, Mr. Maniacs, Nico Lane, Parnick, Pencil Sharp 333, Ragashingo, Ronlad BNK, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, SGM Janus, Skeleton, Warpv, Without a Net, Yuan Kai Shu, Yuki Ali, Zach, Akomancer, Binji, Voodoo Chili, and Ice. Thank you to everybody for giving me money. I enjoy the money. I've already done a lot of the setup. I think there's going to be a Momoko Sanatoshi thing, I think, right? Let's just round off the characters. I hope Tabuki's okay. That'd be nice. I hope there's a nice happy ending there for Yuri and Tabuki. I think that would be nice. Natsume just did the Natsume thing, so maybe dead. Maybe she got shot up and fucking died. Unsure. Either way, she was the scapegoat for Kamba to get away and perpetuate whatever the plan we had going on was. Teddy bears or something to that effect. Something packaging, something consumerism, blah, 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 blah. We'll get into it. It's fine. Shawma's another interesting one. He's currently in a dog box. Don't know what that's about, but he's there. And Himari's dead. Himari fucking died. I know she's been perpetually almost dying the entire show, but this time it seems pretty serious. She's like fading out in the aquarium again, much like the first episode. So, again, what does that mean for Momoko? And I say Momoko, but the headdress shebang, you know. It's unclear. It's unclear what any of this means. But I guess that's why we're diving in here shortly to figure out what the hell's going on. Yeah, so Penguindrum, episode 23, I believe, coming right up. Rightio, episode 23 of Penguindrum, up there ready to go. We're going to ignore the fact that it's definitely the next day. There was definitely 24 hours between me recording that first part and this part here now. Anyway, we're dropping it. Something came up. It was bad. But anyway, 23 minutes and 41 seconds on this one. Picture in picture in the description below. I'm using the DB file set, so sync up with that copy. If you feel like syncing up, let's do this thing. Let's jump into episode 23. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. It's a flashback of sorts. Sanatoshi 16 years ago, morning of the attack. She showed up. Yo, I didn't think we'd be doing this now. Interesting. Guess if I get an opening here, hopefully I do. Yes, at some point. I'll talk to you about what I think the structure is going to be from here. So this is very similar. Very, very similar to what we're trying to do now. Interesting. Yeah, and that wasn't a train line, right? I should try and translate that. This world is made of countless boxes. I guess, yeah. Mm-hmm. Something the world shall? At least a little bit, but this time it's a box. Hello, Momoko. I know. Yeah. Okay. Whatever you guys say. I'm a magician. Okay. Is that the curse? Hence book in two. Hence two hats even. Mario, of course. Oh! 2 rabbits. Yeah, I know, yeah. That's odd. I didn't see that coming at all. Yeah, I expected this portion, the flashbacky stuff, to happen next episode, so sure. That was revelatory. There was a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I'll have quite a bit to say there. Just overall big picture stuff with whatever this box idea is, as well as just like Momika, what Momika did just now, and what the curse's effect was on that. And again, Sanatoshi being an embodiment of a feeling, of a like pervasive thing in culture almost, right? Rather than being like an actual person, and what that means too. Again, please stick around after the reaction. I'll go into it. I swear. Oh, man. I wish this recording session went better. Yesterday was not good, but anyway, it's fine. Everyone's fine. It's not anything serious. It's just unfortunate timing. Snow. Indeed. So we found Himari. Deliriously. Well, most of the show, yeah. How do you know? Oh, about 40 minutes. Dude, this guy's voice. Don't start doing this. Rem? Who's that? Haruhi as well. You can go into it. Oh, hot pot reference. I'm the ghost in the dream? Sure. That's great. It's kind of a play off of the electrifying thing, right? I am the ghost. I know, yeah. Okay, dude. I already know that one. I've seen it, I'm going to say, a dozen times in the show. Unless this is different. Okay, on the other side of the equation, we have Natsume. Huh. Oh. That's fucking bad. I would have... No. Really? Really? Here, I'm going to show you a cool trick. Your sister's dead. Oh my god. The background's really cool, though. I liked Natsume. Oh. Okay. Now saved. I guess, yeah, you need to prove to Kamba that you can actually do this shit. Houdini. I'm talking to my brother the ghost. Huey Lewis. Oh. Okay, Kamba's locking in, dude. Which is bad. Now that's tragic, too. A lot of good penguin stuff this episode. I think we need a hero, chat. Who's going to be that hero for us? Half the characters are dead, in bed. Can't do shit. Like, that has to be a purposeful decision. Like, Natsume's, like, in a hospital bed. Himari, obviously, here and now. Tabuki. Yes. Mm-hmm. Like the point of contrast here to the snow. Oh. Did somebody save you? Wait, she wasn't even in the water? How'd you lose her? It's a beach. What? Anyway, whatever, it's fine. Well, yeah, I mean, you had something to lose as well, right? As opposed to how you were before. A lot of this kind of stuff. A lot of, like, ghost people looking at people. Dream people. This sounds like goodbye. Well, I don't think long term, but there's still like 35 minutes left. When's back then? Oh, back then. Okay, yeah, sure. Naked? Well, he pushed me away before. I can give it another go. Anything for you, Himari? Come on now. Sick. That was a really fun reflection, I guess I would say. Who the hell are you? Oh, hello. I didn't have to go very far. Yeah, because, like, holding Himari down like that, it's kind of what Kamba and her, used to do on the survival strategy sequence. We will? Who's we, bro? Speaking French or something? Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't think he wants the lollipop, man. He's got a handgun? What? Okay, hmm? Yeah? What? What, give me a hug? Oh, murder me. Well, I mean, I don't believe you, Sho. This is a really cool scene, too. Oh. Okay. Continuation of last flashback. Thanks. Oh, this one. Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, Natsume should be pretty easy to steal from here at this point. Well, transferring a fate would be pretty handy right now, considering Shoma has some fucking lead in his heart. Probably needs exiting. I'm sure there will be a time when you can use this ability. What time of day is it? One of them. I can't read. 11:30 or something? That seemed right. Well, if it's today and tomorrow, then we don't have much time left, do we, chat? Because tomorrow's in like half an hour. No. I don't think I will do that. Oh, she's wearing a cool, like, cape or something. Oh. At the aquarium, of course. Back where it all began, baby. Yeah, that's a scarf. Ah. Oh, yeah, this shit again. Mm-hmm. Now what? He will just shoot you in the head and take it. He has history. No, he said he was going to, like, join forces. Now, this is interesting. This reminds me of, like, the sequence where, like, Natsume was directing Kambo around with, like, the loudspeaker. Ah! Evil teddy bear. I don't like the way you're talking. A ghost told me. Hello. Sane Toshi. There's still another episode left, buddy. Also, there's a ticking time bomb behind you. I don't know if you've noticed. Okay, saved. No scarf, though. It's just like taking candy from a baby. Oh, no, I need that. Don't burn it now. You're a cunt. I need a hero? I think I'm looking at my hero. Oh, maybe not. I see. Ooh, can't touch it. Well, I know of one person, but I don't know how to get it back. Alright, let's hop on the Destiny Express. Where are we? Yeah, thought so. It's a real downer episode. Oh. Okay, he didn't have lead in his heart. He just had a ping pong ball. Fair enough. Okay. Saved. Ah. Okay, Yui. Right away. Oh, this shot again. Oh, finally. Name drop. I mean, I said we needed a hero, but the hero was very 11th hour. And yeah, it was the hero I thought it would be too. Oh, never mind, I won't talk. Oh, tempo change. Loves a box, this guy. Okay. But how do we convince bro? Okay. Flashback. Oh, he was in a box. I remember. The dog box. Yeah. Penguin box. You okay? Yeah. Sure. This is cute, though. I like this. The rest of it, not really cute, but you know. Sure. And yeah, we'll skedaddle straight into episode 24. Yeah, a lot to talk about there. We'll get there in time for sure. And there we have it. Episode 24 up there ready to go. 23 minutes and 53 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. Same file set as always, and picture and pitch in the description below. Let's give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, we're back in the box. Hunger and thirst struck. I don't really know where you are, so I can't really answer any of the rhetorical questions. This is me when I haven't had a quarter pounder yet today. Sleep for dinner. Okay. Fair enough. Do you guys want to tell me what this is, or some kind of abstraction of a concept? Yes, indeed. I have a lot to say about the bears. We'll get there. Don't worry, we'll get there. I knew you guys were worried I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it. The soundtrack's so cool. No opening. Cool. Oh, this is kind of sick. It's like a rose. It's also like the dollhouse. Yeah, from last week. Whatever it was called. I remember. It's like she's a princess. So much stuff you could take. So many directions you could take all of this. Yeah. I reckon get that penguin hat onto her. That might be a good idea. Yeah, but see, I don't believe you. Okay. I do like her heart rate going into negatives. We did that before as well. Mm-hmm. Allegedly. Huh. What? What does any of that mean? Oh, very similar framing to the first episode. Hikari? Why? Yeah? I think I can also disprove yours. Like, I think you're delusional, buddy. I don't think you're giving him anything. I think you're using him. Ringo hopped on. Okay. What diary? Yeah, I remember that. Is it Penguindrum? Oh, I forgot about this. Okay. Play the song. Put it all on black. I'm trusting the process. This is interesting. Okay. I found Ringo. Well, not really. Why is it always one or the other with you guys? So this also recontextualizes the apple that Shawma's giving Himari in her little flashback before. Yeah. Go on then. I don't know what's happening, but I hear a song coming on, which is probably good. Well, it took you long enough. I was expecting that probably 4 minutes ago. But I'll trust the process. Whee! Oh, the audio is awesome. Okay, got anything for me? I've snapped too many discs. The lack of headdress here too. Cool. Oh, yeah, like a child broiler, right? A little bit. Living as punishment. Definitely his vibe. Don't get me started on the cows. It's not the time. Mm-hmm. Penguin blood. That was very effective. Very well edited. Indeed. Mm-hmm. Ooh. The underwater effect here is really cool. Well, that seems bad. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, the bed. Oh, she loves it. What is that meant to mean? Oh, the whole gang's here. Indeed. So Kamba gave you some of his life back in the day. Was that the line there? Okay. Whatever you say. Egg. Melon. There you go. Yeah, again, that's what I thought was happening. The love heart in the middle is a nice touch, too. Interesting. Yeah, so this is an extension on the chosen versus unchosen idea. That was an act of defiance from those two. The Scorpion! The Scorpion returns! Finally! And this is significant too, very obviously, right? I'd love to come on board. Alright, Kamba, how we feeling, big dog? Okay, I don't know what happened, but sure. He looks like a pirate. He looks like Sword Art Online. He looks like fucking Kirito or whatever. Based, I guess. Okay. Sanatoshi seems mad. Don't care, didn't ask. Plus you're a ghost. Come on, dude, just do a terrorism. Just one time, man. Come on. Please, I'll be your friend. Just one time, dude. Come on. The rest of it I'm thoroughly confused about, but I guess that's par for the course. It seems to me that Kamba has sacrificed himself for Himari. With the help of Ringo's spell. Oh, let's share. Let's share the burden. Oh, no, I'm taking the burden. Now, I didn't think that this would happen. Interesting. That was very cool, too. Okay. Suck shit, Sanatoshi. I'm quite happy in my own little box, thank you very much. Or something. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, where the penguins off to? Oh. Gone back up the conveyor belt. Yes. I know. Super Frog. Okay, you're stranded here, bitch. What about Mario? Mario did nothing? No way. Ugh. White bear. Covered in blood. Okay. You two are fine. Oh, Tabuki. Based. Very important line. Oh, this location again, too. All you need is love. Oh, Mario. Saved. Yes. Not the fish. In a dream? That's putting it lightly. At a point, yes. No, not the house. Curry rice. Ringo. So the fucking memory loss shit is fucking with me. Her presence relaxes me. Oh, the recipe. Yeah. Okay, I guess I say. Yeah, I mean, we transferred the fucking world line or whatever. Steins Gate type shit. Ooh. Not everything's different, though. Something at its pelvis. Oh, I never had a brother. You had two, damn it. You had two. Oh, why am I Oh! This is one of my favorite tropes. Yeah, I'm crying, but I don't know why. Love it. Wait, this is from the start of the show, too. Huh. Okay, so I have to go back to Night on the Galactic Railroad. Oh, and then this comes full circle, too. Okay, the Penguin gang is still chilling, too. We're on some kind of galactic railroad? Shoreman Kamba will return in Endgame. I hope so. Well, I mean, they're not, but you know. Their sacrifice was noble. For either party there, it's very significant, chat room. More than anything, this just made me hungry. Well, that's very like biblical almost. That's like fucked up. That's nice. Aishiteru, of course. The whole gang is here. Even the little boys. And yeah, that was the end of the show. Obviously a lot to dive into. Like, a lot. Broadly very enjoyable. It didn't blow my mind or anything, but maybe it will in time. Again, you kind of have a pretty obvious endpoint, I think, when I'm starting this session. From like the end of episode 22, you have a pretty obvious endpoint if you're going to have a happy ending. And I think we got there, albeit in a little bit more of a twisty-turny way than I thought. But I'm not current year discourse on Twitter about fiction. It doesn't need to be surprising to be good. It was just exactly what it needed to be, and that's awesome. Good show. No, scratch that. Great show. Fantastic show. We fuck with Penguindrum. It's crazy good. Yeah, so I will return probably later on tonight. We'll see. And yeah, we'll talk about this some more. But yeah, obviously very, very good set of two episodes, excuse me. So yeah, I'll return. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that was episodes 23 and 24 of Mawaru Penguindrum, closing out the series and yeah, coming full circle, a full revolution, some may say, on the concepts presented. What did I think overall? As I said before, broadly extremely positive. I think there is a temptation with stuff like this to see a bunch of metaphors kind of thrown at the wall and kind of seeing what sticks and that kind of thing, to be kind of critical of that style of storytelling. And again, I certainly feel that way for certain pieces of media. I feel like it's so broad and so referential and so there's way more subtext than text, to the point of unwatchability, to the point of like it's just pure pretension, it's pure nothingness, like there's nothing to grasp onto, it's just all ideas. I've definitely felt that way about pieces of media before, but also skill issue, like you gotta try. If you couldn't guess, like I've been reading reviews of Penguindrum for the past half hour. While the kind of picture-in-picture was rendering, I just kind of had a look at some stuff. And yeah, a lot of people fall into that camp on it. They also highlight the fact, again, in contrast to Utena, that Ikuhara wrote this himself pretty much, as opposed to the whole B-Papa's situation of it all. And are potentially blaming that for their foreseen issues on it and that kind of thing. And I hate to come in so defensive so early, but I don't know, I liked it. I thought it was very good. And again, in stepping back away from all the nonsense of the show, which we'll get into, don't worry about that. It's very simple at its core. Like, this show is about humans loving each other, and that's all that really matters. It's in the grand Evangelion tradition of anime shows having basically the same moral every single time. Hey man, human interaction's good. We should interact with each other and love each other and spread peace and all this other stuff, right? That sounds like a good idea. It's like I said in the reaction, right? All you need is love. All you need is love. Love is all you need. Something like that anyway. I think I heard a song like that at some point. And this is where we get kind of big picture about the show overall. It's very clearly now, with all the cards on the table, very much about abandonment and destiny and fate. And again, those things weren't exactly hiding, but now they're right in your face, right? Very, very much in your face. Like, it's something that literally every single main character shares. They share an opinion that they have on fate, whether good or bad or somewhere in between, and they share the theme of abandonment. Let's go through it, right? Himari, implied abandoned by her mother, sure, was found by Shauma and brought in and blah, 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 all that other kind of stuff, right? Either way, she doesn't have any direct family left. It's pretty close to abandonment. Shauma and Kanba. Now, this one's a little bit weird. Kanba has a more solid example a little bit later as well, but they're both in the boxes at some point, right? And again, we'll get into the boxes later on as well, but like, I think the box equals life, and both of them for a very long time were starved in those boxes. So that implies to me, because again, we never see anything explicit about it, that implies to me that it, like, at some point in their life, the both of them were on their last legs. Whether that be mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever it may be. Sure, speaks to some semblance of abandonment. Of course, Kanba is abandoned by his father. His father's broadly disappointed in him and all that other kind of stuff. He chooses abandonment away from Natsume and Mario as well, away from his biological family, but that's also kind of what's left for him by his familial situation. And again, we'll go into the grandfather a little bit more with Natsume as well, but the grandfather abandoned his entire family there, Natsume and Kanba included, by being such a prick about the whole thing, right? He emotionally abandoned them, you know? Shorma as well, you could argue similarly. He didn't seem all that jazzed about the whole Kenzan terrorism thing, so, you know, he could have been abandoned in that regard. Doesn't want to, you know, follow the family lineage and all that other kind of stuff, despite feeling the similar things, right? Seeing what Himari's going through and wanting to incite change. It's just not the change that Kenzan wanted to incite. Again, I kind of went into Natsume, abandoned by both Kanba and her father and her grandfather. She got like triple abandoned. It was really bad. And Natsume is also that pretty telltale sign that this isn't explicitly tied to socioeconomic status either, because again, like, she's super rich and she still feels just as badly as the rest of us. A few more really direct ones here in Yuri and Tabuki, both of them literally abandoned by parents or parental figures. Again, in Yuri's case, mother out of the picture. It's implied that it's pretty bad, and father is abusive. Again, emotionally abandoned there. Tabuki, pretty clearly abandoned, right? And even that kind of plea, the breaking of the fingers to try to get back what was taken from him, you know. But again, alas, didn't come to anything. Both found solace in Momika in their own ways, and then, weirdly enough, upon Momika's death and whatever else went on there, kind of twisted that kind of savior into their obsession and mania over Momika as well, causing them to make bad decisions in the future. Again, abandoned by Momika. Momika went away too, obviously. Sanetoshi, and we'll get into Sanetoshi like very soon, because he's like first scene. He was abandoned by life itself. So for whatever reason, Sanetoshi became like super giga woke about what life is and his interpretation of life per se, right? So let's talk about the box stuff, and we'll go through the dialogue here in a second as well. But the box is life. The box is your life, right? So this is me in my box right now. This is my life. Very awesome, very epic, right? You can't get out of the box. Nobody else can get into your box. It's your box. But again, you can choose to see that however you want to see that, right? It can be a blessing. It can be a curse. But again, it also talks to this ultimate kind of grander thing of the chosen versus the unchosen, right? So why were both Shorma and Kanba in their boxes respectively, but only Kanba got the fruit, right? Is that just God who decided that, right? In essence, that is the concept of injustice, right? That's not fair. Why did we're like literally like the same? We're born on the same day. We're both the same age. We're both, you know, we're very similar, Kanba and Shorma. Why did Kanba get the apple? And again, Sanetoshi takes this and he goes, well, injustice is wrong. Therefore, we must destroy everybody's box. But remember, the box is life. So in destroying the box, we're destroying people, right? And again, Sanetoshi is so caught up in this, he thinks that everybody wants to follow suit. Everybody must think the same way that he thinks. If they don't think that same way, then they're just not with it enough yet, right? And again, Sanetoshi in turn also feels abandoned by Momika. I think there's a heavy implication here somewhere along the way that, again, because Momika and Sanetoshi were kind of on that same wavelength at some point, but Momika fucked off somewhere else because she didn't really vibe with him. So again, he's kind of tapping out because of that as well. And I might as well just say the thesis statement now. Why keep it for later? But here's the thing about Shorma and Kanba and their respective boxes. They may be, like, in their own boxes, but they can share things between the boxes. And that's why human interaction's good. And that's why love, in essence, is good, right? What is love if not giving up something for somebody else, right? We've heard it a million times. In this case, Kanba, with the apple, whatever that may represent here, he halved it and gave it to not even his brother, just his, like, bro. Just like his guy. Hey, you have half of this. I see that you're struggling. It's in my human nature to want to help you. and give you half of this thing. That's the thing that Sanetoshi doesn't understand. And again, that's the reason why he's ultimately defeated, is the application of that idea during the climax, right? That, hey, we don't exist, it's a network, right? We don't exist as solitary, like, items. We exist through interaction with each other. That's how all of this works, right? Therefore, everybody giving their kind of respective pieces of life at the very end of the kind of show to Himari is what ultimately saves her, right? Their selflessness, their love for her, their want to create the best life for her, right? And again, a lot of that's based off like reciprocity as well, especially in Kamba's case, right? The whole band-aid on the cheek type thing. Like, she's done so much for me. She gave me a reason to live. Why not give up everything for her in turn, right? In that way, that sacrifice also embodying the spirit of Momoko, whatever Momoko is about, aka anime Jesus, aka love. That's what Momoko represents, love. And again, I think there's some really nice poetry there with Shauma taking the heat from Ringo there as well, right? Like, Ringo sacrificing herself, much like Momoko did back in the day, kind of swirling in the sea of flames, Shauma taking the heat instead. Knowing that, again, basically at that point, he has like no life left, no purpose. The ultimate form of love and reciprocation of Ringo's love of him is to take it all for her. Let her live, right? And again, like, it's ultimate selflessness, like, because they're removed from the world line after that as well, right? And we'll get into some weird, funky world line stuff too, because I think that's why Sanetoshi's a weird ghost, because Momoko removed him from the world line per se, right? Like, that's why nobody remembers Sanetoshi was the leader of the cult. I think that's the implication. But yeah, like, ultimately, Ringo making the decision to embody Momoko, so much of what her story in the show has been about, in that kind of final act, and it's still getting kind of, her still getting kind of out Momoko'd is very, very interesting. For sure. Also, the bears. I had a long-standing theory that the bears were attached to gender, right? So when we saw all these kind of black bears around, I'm thinking, oh yeah, mostly masculine, dominating ideas. Not necessarily incorrect, but there's also a different interpretation now that it's like a change in perspective, right? Like, this darkened perspective associated with Sanetoshi and the wider one more associated with Momoko. And again, that survival strategy sequence being the linking of kind of the two along that bridge. That's another different interpretation that we could definitely look into. Obviously co-opting that black and white color scheme that the Penguins too share as well. Also, the Penguins, I was reading something as well. Ikuhara essentially, maybe this was mentioned to me before as well, I forget. Ikuhara essentially said, like, penguins are like weirdo freak creatures, right? They're like half bird, half like fish, half like who even knows, right? In a way, them in themselves symbolize the idea of incompleteness. And I think in a lot of ways, Ikuhara sees them as a good analog for humanity, right? Not quite this thing, not quite this thing, kind of this weird mix of all these things, right? All the, you know, the black and white of it all, right? The full spectrum is encompassed in this one kind of creature. But when are they strongest? I mean, they're in herds for a reason. You see them like kind of hobbling along or whatever, right? Humanity's strongest when it's together as well, you know? Well, either way, that's like 15 straight minutes of me just talking. So I better actually make a start here on the episode. But yeah, again, I'll try not to kind of repeat myself. But that's like a broader thesis statement about what I think this thing is actually even getting at. Love is all you need. That's probably going to end up being like the thumbnail or the episode title or something. I think that's the central thesis. Episode 23 starts with a few establishing shots of the day in question. This has been kind of established throughout the rest of the show that this is the terrorism day, just on a lighting perspective. Again, maybe something with the sharper whites and the darker shadows as well. Kind of like this hazy, uneasy morning feel to it, you know? Isn't Unme no Itaru Basho like place of destiny or something? Let me look this up. And Seizon Senraku is survival strategy, right? Anyway, I'm just going too hard too early. Either way, let's classify this first part of the episode as kind of Sanetoshi's manifesto, I guess. I woke up one morning and realized I hated this world. This world is made of countless boxes. People bend and stuff their bodies into their own boxes and stay there for the rest of their life. And inside those boxes, they forget everything about themselves, what they love, blah, 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 blah. Interesting. Again, maybe this is like a broader discussion to be had about Japanese society as a whole, and maybe something about people feeling like kind of isolated by current Japanese society type stuff. Is that, again, I'm going out on a limb here. I don't live in Japan, but like, I think there's something there. Like, something about the uncaredness of everybody just kind of going about their day and not interacting with each other, I guess. Sanetoshi seeing that, thinking it's a curse, and then thinking that the solution there within is to destroy everybody's box. Kind of like this grand reset type idea almost, right? In a show that's so very much about reincarnation as well, as evidenced by the very end, Sanetoshi and the truth and what I believe aren't too separated from each other. It's just the methods by which they go about it, you know? Either way, Momoko catches wind of this and basically tells Sanetoshi to fuck off. I'm gonna banish you from this world. Because Momoko has a sick spell, as we see in the book. Awesome diary. We love the diary. The spell to transfer fates is written in here. And again, this is what everybody's looking for through the show, right? So now we have a more concrete idea of everything. Hey, so this diary can literally be used to change the world. So when Yuri wants to use it, she wants to use it to bring Momoko back and many other things. What Natsume wants to do is change things so that Kamba's back and her dad's back and a whole bunch of other stuff. They both have pretty strong motivations for wanting to use this ability. Which again is the fun kind of ripple effect of the show. The absence of Momoko, the curse that Sanetoshi has placed on everybody involved, right? Kind of bearing fruit. Like, hey, this isn't what Momoko would have wanted, all this fighting over the spell and all that kind of stuff, but it's what eventuated, you know? So Momoko casts the spell, but Sanetoshi says, I'm going to curse you in turn. The spell will only be half cast because of this curse that I put on you when casting the spell. And again, this is all... Last episode's done, baby. Like, we don't need to consider anything else beyond what's in front of us right now. Magic's real, I guess. I don't know. He's a curse or something. Really love these visuals here, kind of the silhouettes. Very, very famous Ikuhara technique, of course. He came up with the idea of a silhouette, nobody else. Just like a really direct and obvious split, like of the half-cast type idea, I guess. And we see Momoko here literally splitting into the two headdresses, one for Mario and one for Himari, of course. In turn, we also see Sanetoshi split into the two black bunnies that we see in the rest of the show. That mostly just seem like his, like, cheer crew. Like, I guess in reality, as it stands right now, the only remnant of Sanetoshi at all is two black rabbits. Cool. Those two black rabbits are still Sanetoshi, and they like fanboy over Sanetoshi's like ghost ideas or some shit. Like, that's essentially what's going on, I think. Like, instead of Sanetoshi the person ever existing, now it's just these two black rabbits. I think that's what Momoko's side of it did, right? Kind of like this kind of mutually assured destruction type vibe to it, right? Where, again, I force you to do one thing, you force me to do another thing, and we both end up kind of hating life because of it, you know? Very Monogatari, the worst of both worlds, you know? So if I was smart, I would have picked this up immediately. We've already got the bag here, so Ringo's already visited. It's just that Himari was already unconscious by that point, so he couldn't play the song or do anything there. That's kind of sad. She was apparently deliriously calling out her brother's name when she was carried here last night. It's implied to be Kamba. I'm guessing it's like, hey Kamba, change your tune. Hey Kamba, if I'm dead, then you won't need to keep, you know, forcing yourself to save me and forcing yourself into these terrible kind of situations. Again, in the show, everybody's trying to out-sacrifice each other, right? And Himari wants to be the first to it. None of you guys will have to do anything. Almost like our love for each other is a curse, you know, as well. I'll praise the show a lot here, and I'll try to keep it kind of designated to this one section. A lot of great, like, circular stuff. Stuff that I really like. I basically say it in every series. I love a season to feel like a singular idea. I love some revolution on some like ideas, like we present something in episode 1, it's paid off by episode 12, like stuff like that, right? With Penguindrum, anime original, we introduce something at the very start, even scenes mirroring this scene, right? It kind of gets paid off by the very end. It makes it feel like what I'm watching is complete. They knew what they were doing from the start. They weren't just making it up as they went along. It all kind of had purpose, right? It's simple stuff like this that goes the extra mile, I think, and makes, You know, the good anime, really, really good, I think. And I guess while I'm thinking about it now, I don't know why I'm thinking about it now and not later when it's actually relevant, but let me bring up a visual maybe. Do we have like the boxes here at all? Do we end on the boxes? Nah, kind of not really. Anyway, so much of this show is just Utena. Again. It really is. But two of the most significant ones would be, one, a broad discussion about the idea of self-sacrifice and if it's good or not, right? If it's ultimately self-destructive or should we do it for the right reasons, all kinds of stuff like that. And then kind of this coffin idea as well. Also a shell, I guess. Like, that's what the box is. The box is the coffin, which is also the world shell. All that kind of stuff, right? You have to break out of the world shell to be able to interact with other people, right? You can't just be within your own stuff. And again, in Utena, that's very much coded around adolescence and growing up and the world changing around you because of that. But also, if you don't interact with people outside of your own coffin as well, then you might as well be dead. That's another big theme in Utena as well, right? You need somebody, you need some kind of inspiration to pull you out of those darkest moments, right? And again, that's where human interaction comes into it as well, I think. They're all just kind of hitting very similar notes. Another thing that I'm constantly frustrated with my videos about is that I don't talk about visual stuff enough. I don't talk about how good things are framed and colored and set and all that kind of stuff. I wish I did that more. I wish I had a better grasp of, you know, visual art to be able to talk on that more. I think these two episodes are gorgeous. I think they're very, very well storyboarded. I think the last quarter of the show has been pretty flawless in that regard. Some really, really striking visual moments. Even, again, I paused on this one for a reason. This is barely 2 seconds and it's fucking amazingly well crafted. It just is, right? What is this shot's trying to say? It's isolation, right? It's two disparate figures in the cold of winter coming together, embracing for a moment, but again, ultimately, there's still distance there. Ultimately, things have transpired. Nothing will ever be the same again, you know, that kind of vibe. And again, all that is gotten through visually, as well as thematically through the rest of the stuff in the show, music, dialogue, whatever else, right? And I just think that's fucking neat. And I don't talk about it enough, and I wish I was better about it, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I need to take some fucking classes or something. I try sometimes. In the dialogue here, the doctor is going into the idea of Sanetoshi. Sanetoshi used to be my assistant. He died a very long time ago, 16 years ago to be exact, which is suspicious timing, of course. But weird that you mention him, because I had a strange dream with him only a few days ago about a hot pot. We shared a hot pot and had a discussion. That was the weird radio show from last week, I believe. This attachment to dreams is an interesting idea too. This is a big thing that comes through in a lot of aspects of the show. Dreams. That and the show's kind of prevalence for flashback kind of really gives the show a scattershot quality, I would say, right? But I think that adds to it. I really do. I think it adds to the intrigue and the mystery and all that kind of stuff. So again, when Sanetoshi says he's like, I'm a dream ghost or something, I think it just thematically makes sense. And again, that final line there from the doctor as well, how unscientific, kind of mirroring Sanetoshi's how electrifying. I think that's very cool. Again, he's a doctor. He believes in medical science. Ghosts aren't real, but I met one in a dream. Again, it goes to show that preconceived notions can be challenged. The implication here as well that I think Sanetoshi is doing this in large part to spite Momika. I think, Momika, you are wrong. I think that my view of the world is correct, and I want to demonstrate that. So again, we're reading a lot of Sanetoshi's actions here as purely just spiteful. He wants to spite that little girl. That's all he's got going on in his life, I guess. This is a really weird section. I forgot about this. Sanetoshi says here that I'll give you a tutorial of one of my magic spells, to which he transports Kanba over to see Natsume, who is dying, and then she dies, and then we revive her. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's so weird. Why? That was another thing I read as well. I think that's maybe also the transition point between Penguin Force and Kiga Group is part of kind of Momika's world line changing stuff, I think. Anyway, more importantly, fucking Natsume's fucking dead. And the background being all creepy here too. Got silhouetted stopwatches and stuff. The fleeting nature of human life or something to that ticking time. We all have a ticking time clock inside of us, I guess. Maybe that's something to do with the because like all the bears in the boxes too, and the bears are kind of ticking down to the inevitable kind of explosion as well, right? Like that's much like humanity. I'm ticking down to the point where I explode in death. I don't think I'm going to die via explosion, but you never know. I'm going to die one day. It's true. Spoilers. Much like everybody else in their own little box. It's almost very nihilistic. If I am going to die one day, if ultimately I can't live in perpetuity, if ultimately I can't interact with anybody or change anything, right? If I'm ultimately powerless, then why even try? Why not accelerate the process and just die now? That's kind of Sanetoshi. That's kind of what a lot of this kind of bear stuff and the terrorism is meant to get across. And then, yeah, I don't know, Sanetoshi like magical girls the machine or something, and then her heart rate goes back up. Great character moment there for Natsume as well. Upon waking up after literally dying, like her heart stopped and then she's back again, she's like, okay, let's lock in. Where's Mario? Is he okay? Goes to show that kind of devotion. I think, again, Kamba and Shoma feel that way for Himari as well. Much, again, elevating them much above their own life. I also think there's enough, like, Ikuhara weirdness in the show still. Because, again, very early in the show is much goofier about this kind of stuff. But lines like this and the kind of, weird fade out here and that kind of stuff with the line, the world and fate cannot be altered by Houdini's magic. Like, screenshot this, send it no context to somebody, and they'd think the show's nonsense. But it makes perfect sense, At a point there, it also seems like this weird kind of fever dream and reality are shifting back into each other because Natsume tries to call out to Kamba, like, in the dream world and tell him not to get on the train. But again, he's going to be Sanetoshi's best friend and hop on anyway. In that process, he also steals half of the diary, so that's where that comes from for the climax too. And I like this visual representation with the penguin kind of reaching out, trying to save him before going on the train. I guess now is a time to also step back and like look at the penguins in like full view. They're funny, but like what's the point? Again, I was talking about like the kind of penguin as a metaphor for humanity before. And again, I had some broad theories in the show of the penguins kind of being a view into a character's subconscious, what they actually want to do at any random point in time. But I think taking a step out of the whole symbolism conversation, I just think they're also in the show for pacing. This kind of show is pretty dark. It's, the concepts being explored aren't exactly happy-go-lucky all the time, so you need a constant source of levity to stop the show from being a bummer all the time. And again, the penguins just do that in spades. So again, I think they're more practical than symbolism here at this point. One thing I'll say as well is that these two episodes aren't overly dialogue heavy. There's a lot of points where we just kind of let the scene sit. I think this is one of the major examples, just kind of the snowflakes flying in. Again, that cold motif coming back into the show. Again, it's pretty obvious stuff have gone into it. The warmth of human love and connection versus the cold of the setting, kind of in contrast. At that burning flame of sacrifice by the very end, the scarf, the hot meals, again, we've talked about it all, of course. But yeah, I like the show's insistence here at this point to be a little bit slower. I think, again, it would be tempting to just get out there and blurt out all the themes and that kind of thing, but I think we're a little bit more subtle than that. The point of contrast to the cold we use in this scene most notably is the beach. I like the kind of beach audio coming in here at this time as well, really taking us back to that time. Again, the audience needs to be taken on this trip because we literally haven't seen this. We saw some pictures in a photo album, but we don't really know what went on, Also, how are they communicating right now? Further on with the kind of dream and ghost motif of the episode and the kind of latter portions of the show. And again, for the record, this one seems pretty obvious as well. Himari was lost at the beach for a very long time, and many people were looking for her, but most of them gave up. The only ones by the very end were just our family. Very specific wording there as well. Goes to show the devotion that both Kamba and Shoma have for Himari, something that'll come through in spades in the finale. Really, really effective sequence here. I like, again, it would be tempting to just do no visuals for this and to just let this kind of scene carry us kind of all the way through. But, Shoma kind of closing his eyes and we're getting an actual visual of it. This is another great shot. Again, as I said, this isolation, but again, two characters going and saving her from that. It was the first time that we saw her actually cry. I went into this in the reaction as well. Essentially, hey, she didn't cry when she lost, like, the kitten, right? Because again, she didn't have something that she wanted to lose that badly, I guess, right? Or she never knew a world in which there wasn't loss. So there was no mismatch in expectations there. There was no disappointment, right? There was nothing at stake, I guess, other than just the kitten, I guess, but it's neither here nor there. Like, this is what Himari's face looked like back in that scene. It's dead and cold and stuff, as opposed to this. Like, upon having this family, she has been shown what she has to lose, and shown that connection is good, right? If I lose connection with my 2 family members, that would be bad. Hence cry. Again, seems very obvious, but I think the show goes out of its way to explain it in a pretty cool way. It's nice knowing someone will find you. And again, also this implication that no matter where I am, in this reality or not, Kamba and Shauma will still find me and sacrifice themselves for me, right? They're always looking out for me, you know? I like the transition of this obvious kind of afternoon sun at the beach into the nighttime here with these two, just kind of having this dreamlike conversation. Some nicer kind of lighting around the characters, again, giving them almost like a Force Ghost type feel. You can definitely tell this isn't quite reality. It's got this dreamlike kind of tone to it, which I do enjoy. Like, this is what I mean. This is just a gorgeous shot, but I can't explain to you why. The stars are very pointed, again, in a show so much about destiny and fate. Maybe even a rising tide there running at a time, something to that effect. Yeah, this is kind of that, 11th hour, hey, Shauma, you should go in this direction and look for your brother and do this and do that. Go do the climax, please, my brother. Also, do they, kiss here? I don't... Anyway, odd. They're holding hands and stuff. The hair kind of splays out. It's much like the kind of... that even kind of looks like Kamba. It does look like Kamba. I misinterpreted. Yeah, going of the kind of deep blues of this scene here to the red of the Kamba stuff is very pointed as well, I think. And he's literally there in the next scene too. Am I losing my voice? Please don't lose my voice. That'd be bad. Also, this is just straight up Utena type shit too. So, I'm a mark for that kind of stuff. I guess this would be a time to also talk about that kind of Shauma Himari soulmate connection. It never did seem very romantic in nature. Probably a lot of that stuff is more trouble than it's worth, interpreting any of the characters' actions as purely romantic. I don't think that's really the show's vibe. Even Kamba stealing the kiss in the first episode, that didn't really go anywhere. Not really. I thought there'd be more of a kind of romantic twinge to all of this by the very end. But no, it's a lot more tame than that, I think. The incest is just to get you in the door. It's the, Trojan horse. to make you watch PiP, to make you watch good anime, we need to put incest in it. The music here very pointed as well, very lovely kind of peaceful track playing during the kind of Himari dream sequence. Cut back to reality, cut out of that dream. Kamba's here, looking mean. I think this may be a time to pause as well and talk about Kamba's character more overall. Again, he's sacrificed everything repeatedly for everybody throughout his life, right? To the point where he's become jaded in the process of sacrificing, to the point where he's okay, in for a penny, in for a pound, sunk cost. If I am going to save my sister and I have to do all this stuff, then the ends justify the means every single time, no matter what the ends are. And again, he justifies this. It's Shauma, you didn't love her enough. I just love her way more. That's why I'm goated. But the show's smart. It knows that this comes from a position of weakness. It comes from a position, that needs to be challenged by the very end, to where we could see the real Kamba at the base of everything, right? Again, good ideas gone too far. Your self-sacrifice is the reason my Shauma's even here today. But you gotta know when you beat, I guess. Or the correct method. Because, again, in the end, he still ends up sacrificing himself. But it actually works because it's based on the right things, as opposed to Sanatoshi's, which is built on pure hatred. Also, Kamba gun stuff is confusing. I think you shoot him with a ping pong ball of some kind. Some of them take memories, as we've seen, but some of them also give memories. Hugging him, pulling him close. Shauma, I've always wanted to do this to you. And again, in the moment, we think that this is a bad thing, but I think you just shoot him with a blue woke ball, which reminds him of some shit, which we dive into in the kind of next episode. So we'll talk more about it then. But you gave him info. You gave him something. It looks like you killed him to ask the audience, but you didn't really. So, okay, that's a bit more understandable now. I think here this is a sneaky, powerful scene for Ringo. I talked about this last week as well, but Ringo being this character who was kind of abandoned by her own family. Pretty obviously, right? Dad went off and found a new family. Mum's always working. I don't really have anybody that I identify with, right? I find some solace in the Takakura family in that regard, right? I find some semblance of the family unit, at least something which I could call that, right? Even though it's fake, it feels real to me because the emotions are real, the connections are real, right? And again, just as she's kind of feeling comfortable here and feeling like she's loved, it all kind of falls apart. It's all kind of rug pulled out from under her. And she's left all alone, once again, within their house, which is like this grand metaphor for their unity. Like, at a certain point, you got to feel like you're cursed too, right? Maybe my presence here has torn apart another family. Again, maybe I thought this was a direction would go more strongly, but I still think it's kind of there subtextually. Sucks to be Ringo. I've said it a lot. We flash back as Ringo to that scene from the previous episode where she's talking with Yuri. Yuri realizes the fruitlessness of her endeavors and what Momoko really wanted with the diary in this regard, and gives it off to Ringo finally. Instead of trying to steal it, hey, just have it. You know, nobody even wants this thing anymore, you know? Essentially, you have an important role to play in the finale here. Go forth and do such a thing, I think. From a practical sense, this scene here exists here and now to give some emotional weight to the scene here in a little bit where the diary burns. It's like, oh no, there's no way to survive now. There's no way we're going to succeed. And again, also the practical purpose of the diary, in plain words, saying we're transferring fate. Again, we saw this play out with you already. So again, that's why Yuri knows the whole Statue of David debacle. That's why you're aware of what the diary even does and what that spell does, you know? And I said it before, but again, like, I want somebody to extrapolate on this. Like, huge swaths of the show are about Ringo being Momoko and that being framed as a bad thing. And us coming full circle and her becoming Momoko on her own terms, right? And using that same spell again, but ultimately not sacrificing herself because she has somebody next to her that can do it for her. Significant, quite significant. I think Ringo is a wonderfully told character in this show. Either way, Ringo gets a call from Kamba. It's a trick call. He says he's got the other half of the diary and that they need to use it together to save Himari. But again, it's just to, you know, burn the other half on Sanetoshi's behest, right? Hey, this thing sucks. If I touch this thing, I'll explode, whatever he says. Let's get rid of it here and now. It was a trick. I fooled you. I think this scene taking place at the aquarium that's so important to the both of their stories is quite significant. Again, incorporating the penguin type stuff that I've seen, penguins being humanity, the grand kind of contrast between the fire and the ice too here as well, all that kind of stuff. I mentioned in the reaction as well, I think there's something in the use of like the loudspeaker and the kind of like we're unsure where the voice is coming from. Like similar sequence happened to Kamba back in the day with the Natsume type stuff, just kind of mind flooding in with the loudness of it all. Also, is she stupid? She can clearly see it's just a talking bear that's bringing her towards her doom. What is this, Danganronpa? Anyway, get me out of here. Like, she's stupid. She walks over to the bomb bear. Sanetoshi then reveals himself, and again, it was a ploy, it was a trick, it was a ruse. I have deceived you. Sneaky important scene here too. So, bomb bear goes off. Ringo is kind of surprised, and the diary starts to burn. Ringo would rather burn her own body and embrace that pain. This is like her sacrifice, right? For the fleeting chance that this spell could exist and I could change the fate and I could save Himari's life and all this other kind of stuff, I am willing to burn myself here in this time. And I do like this broad idea of the phoenix that I've continued to bring up as well. Rebirth through the fire. Especially true for Shorma come the next episode for sure. Like, he literally becomes reborn after burning up. There could also be some stuff with Ringo and heat. There was a lot of stuff early in the show with like her heating up at various points. You know, PG-13 or not. And now that, again, this could be that kind of stuff coming full circle too. Like, this is the full kind of her embracing this, right? Where before it was kind of trying to hold back, or it was kind of a fleeting feeling here or there, or This is the full-on stuff. This is what she was made for type stuff, I think. Again, that's the thing about the show. Behind all the metaphors and artifice and everything, right? Like, he just said it. Love wasn't strong enough to win here. So again, you're, like, against love winning. You're the most, like, stereotypical mustache-twirling villain in fictional history, right? Like, you're like, guess love didn't succeed. Love is bad. You should go for death instead. Like, this is essentially what we're saying at the end of the day. It's just behind a lot of intrigue. I don't think we ever got... Did we get the title to that stupid song, too, by Double H? Is it just I Love You or something? Because apparently that song and its title is the secret phrase that wins the day. And again, here we're almost just building that up to knock it down, right? It's like no one could possibly know the words, right? When in reality, it's the most obvious thing ever, you know? Like... You were never a threat. I don't think, anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what that kind of penguin bullet was that hit Shauma here. I mean, at this point is also the point that he starts openly communicating with Momoko through the headdress. So maybe that had something to do with that as well. It's unclear. I, for one, thought Momoko would have a lot more to do with the finale. She's just kind of there. It's Momoko's essence, Momoko's spirit, more than anything else, which is what shines through on the day. I thought that she was, like, literally gonna, like, magical girl out and do some shit, but no, not really. That's not really the vibe. For the record, I tried to look up symbolism for Black Bunny as well, or Black Bunnies. I couldn't really find anything beyond just normal rabbit stuff, like luck and the moon, which is an interesting one, and fertility and a bunch of stuff like that. But it seems like Momoko's locked in. She knows everything. You and Kamba will win the day. On that train, you two will find your Penguindrum. The show's been very funny in this regard, kind of introducing the MacGuffin type idea of a Penguindrum very early. Find the Penguindrum is what kind of Himari/Momoko says, right? The Penguindrum the entire time was the friends we made along the way. Like, literally. It wasn't anything. It was nothing. Again, in that way, it is also metaphorically the diary, and it's metaphorically a lot of other things. It's metaphorically the apple that we share. It's technically the Penguindrum. But also it's just love. It's love, baby. So this is some interesting stuff, too. During our kind of during credits scene, I guess, we have the two kind of bunny children. I don't know what to call them. This is the closest we'll get to somewhat Sanetoshi backstory, I guess. Again, Sanetoshi here implied to be invisible with the line, I finally will become visible, right? This will be me. Like, he was the unchosen, and this is me breaking the system that deemed me unchosen, you know? That's kind of what Sanetoshi's even trying to do here, you know? I'm going to take my revenge on the world that never needed me. Our slogan 23 here as well is 2 is better than 1. Getting along is beautiful. And again, in the dialogue here, like, we'll go into it way more later on when he, like, literally gives him the other half of the apple, but Sanetoshi's just wrong. He thinks that the boxes are in isolation, right? We will never gain anything inside our boxes. Literally untrue. Proven untrue directly with the show and the relationship between Kama and Shauma, right? And even if you want to take a step back, outside of the literal boxes, Shauma's done this for Himari as well. Saved her from the child broiler. Isn't that, like, literally the same thing? Sharing the fruit of fate and all that kind of stuff? Sanetoshi's just wrong. He's a wrong person. You're unsavable, nobody can save you, therefore we might as well just all blow up. Dumb guy. Now, one thing I should note is the Kiga group. No, this isn't Kiga group, this is Pingu Corp logo on the side of the boxes here. Important distinction. Again, this thing's on everything. It's on everything in society. It's like the biggest conglomerate on planet Earth. I think that symbolizing the boxes that we're all kind of stuck in between is like society or modern day capitalist society, Western, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? I think that's significant. That is what the perceived box is that's kind of separating us from everything. It's almost like Sanetoshi believes that in the world as it exists right now, to its current level of government, connection is impossible. Food for thought. Again, I don't entirely disagree. It's all about methods. It's all about methods. Into episode 24 now, and it's a lot of the same kind of Kamba and Shauma stuff in the boxes. So again, as currently presented in the show, I don't know the direct analog for what these boxes are meant to represent. like literally in reality. I don't think it matters. Again, what matters is that both of these characters were in a dire situation at some point during their lives. You could even argue that this is childbirth in of itself, right? This is literally, because like they were born on the same day per se. Like this could be them literally within the womb or something, if you wanted to go super abstract with it. And like this is literally the process upon which I am born, and I am either chosen or unchosen. You could even attach this into some stuff, right? Because Kamba was born into a really rich family, right? So like, he could have. That could be what the apple represented, I guess, right? This rich family that I was born into, as opposed to you, Shauma, who was not. But ultimately, splitting that apple, sharing it, elevated you to the point where you even had a life to begin with. It put us on an equal playing field, I guess, right? And it took Kamba down. It took time for that to manifest, but yeah, no, he isn't associated with his trillionaire fucking grandfather anymore, so that's what half of the apple was almost, right? Like, that could be an interpretation. More than the literal how, where, when, what, why, it's more about what sharing the apple represents and the choice they made. Hunger's an important factor there as well, because the apple becomes important. Nice fresh apple helps you when you're hungry, of course. Again, I've talked about the apple as well ad nauseum, forbidden fruit. This is also the moment by which we choose to become people. We embracing temptation, the very nature of humanity in a lot of cases, right? This is our Adam and Eve moment. And again, like obvious stuff, it bears repeating. Hey, humans maybe are inherently bad creatures, inherently, distrustful and deceitful and do the wrong things sometimes, are tempted from those bad things. But within each other too, we have the capacity to connect and love each other. Like, I think that's a lot of this kind of stuff too. Despite the tempting nature and despite this and that and blah, 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 it's still ultimately good to connect, I think. I hope you're ready for a lot of this episode to take place on the one train, because it certainly does. It's good. It's fine. It does the job. We get very creative with our visuals during the sequence as well. Really loving the red rose kind of motif as kind of the curtains drop and we get that kind of was it Miku House or something like that? Mika House it was. Miku House is something different. Getting into some of that lovely Utena territory here as well, subverting kind of fairy tale tropes. Like, she's very much set up to be like a Sleeping Beauty type character here, like a princess of sorts. Again, our sacrifice not out of rewardification of woman, right? But out of true love, like a true, pure, Jesus-like sacrifice, But again, that's an entirely different show where we go into that a lot more. I know it was in the show before as well, but really do like negative beats per minute for the heart stuff. Just as like, that this ticking kind of intensifies as well. There's just a great kind of dire-ness to this final scene. Notably in the sound design as well, we've got a lot of like child broiler type motif stuff. There's like this deep pulsating like industrial noise in the distance that's going off, right? Which again could talk to a similarity between this cage situation and the child broiler. We must remember that the boxes that are these boxes as well, right, are often on like kind of conveyor belts in a factory in a very similar way. So I don't think the concepts are entirely separated, is my point. Again, we must remember the idea of unwanted children or invisible children in the first place, right? The unchosen. Who's to say that after this, Shauma is an unchosen child and heads off to the broiler, right? I don't really know what this message to somebody precious business is about, considering, again, to my interpretation, neither of them would have anybody precious to them here at this time, but I digress. Potentially that interpretation is wrong. I do seem to remember a message at the very end of the show, which is kind of a message through realities of brotherly love. Yeah, it could be that. I don't know. At this point in the story, Kamba kind of locks in on Himari and doesn't really, like, their gaze doesn't separate. Again, some of the stuff I was talking about before, like, great circular stuff with the first episode of the show, which had very similar framing with the bed and all that. And again, Toshi continues to lie. Like, if you were opposing Kamba right now, you were opposing his light. You were taking light out of his life. You represent darkness. No, you misunderstand. It's not so absolute. Again, as I keep saying, We're not so different, you and I, Sanatoshi. It's just methods. It's just methods, buddy. I'm with you. The system's fucked up. But don't frame me like the bad guy because I don't want to blow people up because of the system. You know? Again, even supplanting himself as God here in a lot of ways, I can give him the power to reach the light. If that's not godlike, then what is, you know? Again, what can you give him as opposed to that? I'm this powerful dream ghost. You're just a boy. An unchosen boy at that. What can you hope to achieve? I have power. I am chosen. You suck. But again, what we end up giving him is the thing that all humans inherently have, the capacity to love. It's very simple when you put it like that. This is where Ringo enters stage left with some grand ideas about how to save the day. She's come to transfer fate using the spell, but again, Sanatoshi's right. Don't you remember we burned the spell? You don't know the spell, idiot. And again, this is our justification. So the spell is actually also the title of the song of Double H, which is named as a thanks for Himari. Follow me on this one. Giving them scarves. So, okay. Himari used to say a phrase a lot with these two, right? That became a core memory for all of them, right? Again, we saw the flashback. They were all best buds. They were tight as. From there, events of the show occur, they separate, it becomes Double H. They almost forget about Himari in a lot of ways. Again, unchosen as opposed to chosen, another major theme in the show. But Himari's scarf making and her knitting, again, largely inspired by Shauma and his giving of the scarf in the first place, was enough to inspire a reciprocal love, right? You know, you do something for me, I do something for you. This, in essence, is the words that saves the day and changes the world, if that makes any sense. So the feeling of, you know, receiving something and giving something back and interacting and connecting and loving is the panacea to cure everything. It's, again, really simple when you just put it like that. It really is. And again, so much of the world being frozen and that being solved with essentially a scarf. Hey, this world might be a frozen wasteland, but we can at least make scarves to help each other feel warmer in these times, right? Much like the penguins in the Arctic. At least the penguins can huddle together for warmth, you know? It show's kind of brilliant. This show is kind of brilliant. Of course, associating with the sunflower there as well, it's all just coming together. Ringo here has also resigned herself to take the punishment. Sanatoshi reminds her, hey, it's all well and good if you know the words, but also you're giving up your life. Are you okay to do that? And she's like, yeah, of course I am. And I love Ringo's decision here, almost in opposition to Shauma, right? Who, again, feels so much guilt for what the family did and his fate and all that kind of stuff, right? Again, this is Ringo finally standing up to him as well. Like, hey, no, you don't get a say here. I'm going to tell you how I feel. I'm going to take control of my own life. Like, hey, Shauma, buckle up because I love you. And I'm willing to do this. Now, what's the significance of Ringo's name being Ringo when it seems like the apple is all very important symbolism-wise? Dunno. There's probably somebody that could speak to that on a higher level, but hey, again, this is a lot of what I've been saying. I'm not going to repeat myself here, but Kamba's chosen. He has an apple in his box. Shauma doesn't have one. He was unchosen, right? But despite that, he's more concerned about the message and the promise that they made and all that kind of stuff. Just remember me. Give me some amount of, you know, antiquity into the future as I fade away. Just some evidence that I existed. And yeah, I mean, from here we just kind of win, like, Rock Over Japan or whatever the song's called. Again, I always forget. That starts playing. You can hear it kind of building up. There's a really great kind of, like, casual upping of the volume in the mix there. Good audio mixing, I don't call it out enough. And hey, it seems like the tides have instantly turned and now we're going to be on top. And this is what I mean when my broad kind of thesis straight out of the episode was, oh, that went the way I thought it was going to go. Like, I knew we were going to do another survival strategy sequence. It's been so iconic to the show. Like, I just knew it was going to be here. And it was. And again, like I said, that doesn't make it bad, but it just makes it unsurprising. In fact, no, it doesn't just make it not bad, it makes it good. It should have happened. Love the difference in the framing here. So often we've seen, you know, Himari on the bottom bear, on that kind of white bear. Well, not the bottom bear, the kind of stairs change side. She's been on the white bear up the top. And again, I think this talks to more Momoka versus Sanetoshi type stuff. Sanetoshi type feelings are the black bear, Momoka type feelings are the white bear. Her appearing on this bridge with the black bear up above, her needing to make the journey upwards, the kind of ascent to save Kamba here in this case, as opposed to her descending and talking to them on a level, I think is a great kind of subversion. I think that's a great switch up of what we normally see. Love it visually too. It's all very busy, but all the little kind of indicators mean something, right? Like an arrow here, love heart here, Tokyo Tower, a bomb. Is that a traffic light even? Bear. A lot of these things have come into the show in various times, right? You could see this is like this kind of weird swirling world of all the ideas coming forth, I guess. So this is all very beautiful. Himari here chooses to make the ascent with no headdress, no nothing, no protection. Just her. She chooses to make the ascent through the glass, very child broiler coded, right? To save him regardless of how cut up I get, right? It's a last kind of manifestation of the sacrifice that Himari wants to make for Kamba to save him. I would literally crawl across glass to save you type idea. Really like it. As it turns out, living is a punishment. I've been punished in small doses as a member of the Takakuras. And again, this is more like broad humanity stuff. Life is pain, life sucks, life is you know, this and that, we're inherently evil, all this other kind of BS, right? But hey, all that matters is us. All that matters is connection. Again, as I keep saying, like this is this given form. This sequence does get quite cerebral, I guess. It's not really sure what's physically going on in the scene. It's more a representation. Really like the dialogue, just various anecdotes of the experience of these three disparate people as a fake family, right? And the experiences that they had, right? These connections that we made, these memories and eternity that we made with each other, that's the reason why this shit's real. Blood be damned, we don't care. What matters is connection, as I keep saying. Like Shauma here, thinking about the time when Kamba first got introduced to him as a big brother, right? I don't need a brother, why should I do that? But all the same, we, you know, learn to love each other. Despite everything, we're still together, you know? Intercut here with these memories at the aquarium even, right? Mirroring the stuff at the beach from last episode too. Really, really like it. Very sparse scene here, really focusing on the dialogue and the music, which I enjoy too. Even this line here, because the only reason I felt alive was because the two of you were there. I get the feeling that any of the siblings could have said this, you know? The tragic part here is that Himari specifically says that she doesn't want to forget everything. I don't want everything to disappear, you know? In the sacrifice, that kind of is what happened. But not forever. Again, like, reincarnation's a thing for a reason, you know? I really like Kamba breaking down here too, right? He's been quite annoying for, like, the past, 4 episodes or so. Just as he's become more evil and more Sanetoshi-pilled. I like him genuinely breaking down here, reminding the audience of the emotion behind all of this. The genuine emotion that is there. Like, here at this time, bearing all the, kind of pain and all the heat at once that he has kind of taken for the family, right? All that pain hitting him all at once, you know. I'm fine, until you're not fine. This is kind of that scene representing that, you know. Here at this time, I'll see Himari holding him close and closing those wounds once again. I think that's pretty powerful. In the dialogue there, Shauma also remarking about the house paint and that being Kamba's idea. You wanted to make a place where Himari could come home and smile. Again, from way back then, you were sacrificing everything for her, right? It was always all for her, you know? Even speaking to the bed, right? The kind of princess bed that we made for her, right? We dragged it home all by ourselves. No help or anything, right? No parents at that point either, I don't think. We just wanted to do this and make her smile, right? As she's kind of stayed home and cooked us a nice warm meal, we made a nice warm place for her to sleep. Seems pretty nice to me. And I think what's happening here is okay, so all the blood exited him and then it turned into apple. And then he gave her apple and then he doesn't have apple anymore, so therefore he dies. Something like that, I think. Like he's finally able to do what he wanted to do, which was sacrifice himself for Himari, right? And he didn't need to bring down 1 million people on trains with him in doing so. Oh, and this is part of it as well. I'll return what you shared with me on that day. So Shauma gives him back half of the apple. Kamba then has full apple, which he gives to Himari, which allows her to live. Makes sense? Because she never had an apple because she wasn't chosen. That's why she went to the fucking broiler. And that's why sharing the apple with with Shauma back in the day, and the kind of soulmate status there was significant too. I see what's happening. Okay, making sense. Or even maybe Kamba gave Himari half of the apple in the start of the show, but then it ran out after a time because, again, it was only half of an apple. Or half of an apple. Who cares? The math doesn't make any sense, but... or maybe it does, I don't know. What matters is that they're sacrificing themselves for each other and all that kind of stuff. Oh, that was a great face. Look at this. I love this. Kind of this realization, right? Kind of like, you give the apple there over to you, and then like, oh, the smile there. Oh, the realization that, oh, you're going to lose yourself too, but a smile regardless. That's fucking fantastic. Love a good face. And again, that apple that we share, she literally says it here, that's the Penguindrum. The love that the two brothers shared back in the day as well. Literally. Look, it's in the symbolism that it's love. Even a seed too is interesting too. Growth from there, you know. Yeah. Makes perfect sense, obviously. And again, as I keep saying, like, this is the most significant scene in the show by a long way. This is the single thing that proves Sanatoshi's thesis incorrect. We don't exist in a little bubble, in a little box, all by ourselves, never interacting with anybody. Here's proof. We just got to make the effort to do so. You know? Ringo here absolutely screeching, let's share the fruit of fate. To which point we bring up like scorpion shit or something, right? Or maybe that's a little bit later. Anyway, fate transfer's coming. There's the whole subway conceit coming back into it. I love the transition here from the reds to the blues. I think this whole sequence is fantastic. Built up beautifully in the edit. Kind of going from kind of the low point here, kind of raising up with the music into like a big elaborate kind of well animated sequence here with a lot of effects. Again, still very much Monogatari vibes too. Specifically the flourish on the piano here as that kind of goes along the floor. Yeah, fantastic stuff. So again, with Kamba making his sacrifice for Himari, we also have Shauma making his sacrifice for Ringo. It's just gorgeous. It's a very, very gorgeously animated episode. Looks very nice. Put a picture of Kirito from Sword Art Online next to him, though. Just a little bit. Maybe it's kind of like it looks like he's in a computer game right now or something. Maybe that's got something to do with it. Sanatoshi, mad because bad, says none of you will ever escape the curse, as I could not. Just sees this as almost like a cycle repeating itself, right? Residents of the boxes like you could never gain anything. You're never going to incite true change. You're never going to blow anybody up. Okay. Don't care. Even challenging the concept of eternity here as well. You'll leave this world having achieved nothing. You didn't change anything. Blah, 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 blah. And on top of everything, you'll never be happy. Basically, don't care, didn't ask. Plus, you're Sanatoshi. Don't care. So my read there is that he like child broilers himself to like give her a heart or something. I don't know, unclear. Let's say it's possible because of the fate transfer idea as well, which kind of Ringo's going through. So, the Scorpion Fire, the lives, this is the kind of transaction. So this is from Night on the Galactic Railroad, which is something that we brought up a very, very long time ago. Let's specifically find the Scorpion stuff. A child recounts the story behind Scorpio, a scorpion who preys on insects, flees from a weasel, and after falling down a well, regrets not having been sacrificed itself to feed the weasel a good cause. It vowed to serve others in its next life, and its body burst into flames that still burn in the night sky. Thus, Scorpio is a constellation. When the train stops at the Southern Cross, the remaining other passengers disembark for Christian heaven, leaving only Giovanni and Campanella. Giovanni says that they should travel together forever and vows to follow Scorpio's example of bringing happiness to others. However, this doesn't come to pass because of reasons. Anyway, that's why we're bringing this kind of stuff up, because literally Kamba's sacrificing himself. He's making sure that his essence has worth, gives sustenance to another through the process of like the apple. Like, it's literally sustenance, you know what I mean? And there's probably a lot more to it, the connection between, like, the Campanella and the Giovanni of it all, and Kamba and Shorma. But again, I haven't read the thing. I'm sure somebody that has can speak with a lot more authority. All I can do is just reference Utena again, which, again, I'm getting huge Akio vibes off Sanetoshi. I know I've said it from a long way out, but here it's way more pronounced. Spoilers for the end of Utena, I guess. Akio's not correct. He's stupid. He's kind of dumb with it, and doesn't really understand the concept at play. It is ultimately thwarted by true love. Like, both of these characters are just characters that just miss the point entirely. And I think that's very funny. And they're just kind of caught off guard in that regard, which, yeah, very similar feeling about the two antagonists. I don't know how this really works, but Shorma, like takes the heat for her, I guess, and says that he loves her. That kind of being that magic word, of course, I think, as well. Like, I think that's the implication. That's the word that helps the line transfer, as we could see here from the train kind of cars detaching. And that kind of detachment in the visual language, the body language there too, like pushing each other apart, like that kind of stuff. And before we can hold back on, it's too late. Fate has been sealed. Kind of Shorma doing the grand sacrifice there as opposed to Ringo. And again, changing the world line from the kind of black line that we're on to the white line, like that kind of stuff, like Momika pilled line. And yeah, triumphant music plays, kind of the wind is swirling, it's like the train is gathering kind of steam going ahead. And just like that, we're back in reality, baby. Oh, well, we're back in reality, baby, right here, you know? Either way, there's a quick conversation here between Momika and Sanetoshi where Momika essentially says, nah, 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 like that kind of stuff. The train has left. You're stuck here now. Well, the train will come again. I don't know about that, but I'm leaving. Based Momika. 4-4 time indeed. Yeah, no, I don't know. She takes her 2 hats and fucking exits stage left. See you later. Who's to say that she doesn't reincarnate as well? Let's just say that she does. I guess the bears there are another indicator of the world line changing because they're all white bears now. So sure, like that's a weird change between the realities. I will say this is a little bit disappointing. I wanted a little bit more wrap up for Tabuki and Yuri here. 2 of my favorite characters. I really enjoyed them. All through the thing, they were very hard to predict. We just kind of really get some wrap up here where they basically say that, hey, like, chosen children, unchosen children, what's the differentiating factor? Fucking love. How do we help things? Why are we still here to love each other? You and I were lost children to begin with, but most children in this world are the same as us. So just once, we needed somebody to say, I love you. And that's what Momika did for us, right? And again, kindness begets more kindness. Because she did that, we have the capacity to love each other now, right? And despite everything, loved children will definitely find happiness. And yeah, that's the reason why we're left in the world, to love each other, right? This is a nice wrap up too. So Mario's fine. All of Natsume's sacrifices were rewarded too, but in turn, it was also because of Kamba's sacrifices, right? Like, and also Momika took the hat away, so, you know. Like, I think Kamba and his sacrifice there were able to also pass on to some of Natsume's burden. Again, almost like a karmic reward for what Natsume did for Kamba when she took the heat for him, right? Because you were willing and able to do that, you get rewarded here and now with this. Something like that, I think. But again, also the opposite end of the kind of equation there as well, the lack of eternity, the lack of memory that either of the brothers has. Hey, like, who's Kamba? I don't know who that is. I dreamt that I had a twin brother. I didn't have a twin brother. Like, that whole vibe to it. You know, this trope, I've seen it like a million times. Never not heartbreaking, though. I hate people forgetting people. That shit sucks. And yeah, ending kind of with some glowing words for Kamba, which I think goes a long way. Again, Natsume throughout the whole show. Boo, we need to crush him. Gosh, I must crush him. All that kind of stuff, right? But again, now, all being said and done, dust settling, I loved him, or he loved me. And, you know, able to admit that now that, you know, he's not even here anymore, you know. In this reality, it seems like Himari is living with her auntie and uncle. Both of them love her very much. She has a loving family. She's also friends with Ringo, a girl that she met, that she went to the aquarium with, and also they met after they woke up unconscious on the train together. They met in hospital. Also, this here, it's pretty clear to see, like there's no other 2 siblings here anymore. It's just kind of her growing with age, right? Like they've been erased, like that's why the house isn't painted as well. Kamba and Shoma don't exist in this world anymore. Despite everything, Ringo's presence relaxes me somewhat. That's very pointed too. Yeah, you can see it all over the house. That's why the house has been so specific. We're like losing the elements of the brothers here in the finale. The two obviously sharing curry here as well. Curry day. Sharing curry together, that kind of manifestation of love, that warm food, the spice of it and all that kind of stuff is very important too. The secret apple recipe, Ringo, again, able to find solace with a new friend in the wake of everything that happened with her as well. I think that's quite beautiful. They even fucking love Double H. I love collecting their merchandise. Yeah, this image, obviously, like, no, you know, Kenzan and the mom and the brothers anymore, you know. Also, they're here with the monkeys, not the penguins. Yo, they went to the fucking zoo, not the aquarium. If you think about it, we're kind of like the monkeys. I don't know. I'm too fried for this. And to round us out here, we have the tearjerker. Again, as I always say, one of my favorite tropes. Like, I read something, it's emotionally, you know, moving, and I don't really know why. I'm crying and I couldn't justify the reason as to why the tears started to fall. Amazing trope. I love it when people use it, and it's very significant here. The love that the brothers have, the emotional connection that they share, transcends the logical laws of reality. They shouldn't exist in this universe, but they still made her cry. That's amazing. I love that shit. Specifically the plush doll there as well. The plush doll that they kind of like... The story was that they were making the bed. They were making the Mika house. And they kind of stepped back and broke the doll and needed to sew it back together. Again, the Mika house thing that they did, it's a microcosm of the finale. It's like them sacrificing everything. Fucking up a little bit in the process, but ultimately the feeling being there of sacrifice and outright love for their sister. There may be mistakes along the way, such as the plush doll, but the love is still there all the same as represented by the note. Very, very beautiful. Love it. And then we have reincarnated Kamba and Shoma, and then they're also on the Galactic Railroad here in a second or something. It was all very confusing. But let's read the dialogue. Simply put, the apple is also a reward for those chosen to die for love. Okay, so you get chosen if you choose to die for love. Yo, that's actually sick. Okay, based. So these two are now chosen because of their noble sacrifices. That's my read anyway. I'm going to choose to believe it because there's a minute and a half left. I'm allowed to choose whatever I want. Yeah, hey, we made it, baby. But everything's over when you're dead. It's not over. What Kenji was trying to say is that that's actually where everything begins. Now, Kenji, obviously, is Kenji Miyazawa, of course. I knew that. I didn't need to look that up. Either way, the penguins are still chilling all together. So, again, that's another nice thing. So, Himari's penguins just chilling outside. The boys' penguins are still there. On, again, that kind of deep down subconscious level, these characters are still connected and still hanging out, still having a fucking blast with each other. What a happy ending. I love this. And Himari bringing the show full circle with her own kind of words on fate. I believe she had these at a certain point. Maybe Frozen World. Maybe that episode, maybe. Anyway. I love fate. I believe that I'm never alone. Because of fate. Because of some reason. I don't really get that, but it's nice that Himari feels good. And yeah, the show kind of closes out from there. The boys walk off into the horizon, off on some new adventure. At least they're together still, that's nice. And yeah, really grand visual for the ending. Just a lot of the motifs of the show, the stars, the apples, the red strings, the princess bed. And of course, a half apple being shared between a character, being given to a character. The Penguindrum in of itself. Love, all these things. I will never forget you forever and ever. I love you. And yeah, that's the end of Penguindrum, baby. Look at that, isn't that a nice visual too? All the gangs together, all the freaks, all the stalkers. This is a big stalker reunion. We're all here, just loving life. And yeah, with that, we'll close it out. I think I've talked big overall stuff about the show already. Largely very impressed. I loved that finale. As I said, not very out there. Well, it's out there, but not anything that I couldn't predict anyway, I guess. But again, as I said, that doesn't mean it's bad. It actually means it's good. It's doing what it should be doing. Again, as I kind of led into this sequence as well, I think people arguing that Ikuhara's doing too much they don't want to do the legwork. It's clearly connecting to something. There's clearly an idea there, even if, again, I tried to put it into words, but don't know how successful I was. Would I recommend Penguindrum? Absolutely. It's probably a high 9 for me, if not a 10. I gave you a 10 or a 10 in the end, so I don't know, it's up there. It's hard to say having just kind of seen it. I'll let it kind of marinate for a bit. If I'm talking best characters, I'm partial to some Ringo. Love me some Ringo, of course. Natsume's a freak. Himari's just a nice little ball of sunshine, which I enjoy. One-off characters that were funny. I like the grandpa. That dude was a riot. And he's like weird assistant. That was fantastic. Best episodes, Frozen World. Frozen World's amazing. The Yuri episode, the flashback episode there, really up there as well. It's tough to nail down an episode, maybe 22. I really liked 22, kind of the Himari Shorma flashback episode as well. And yeah, even some of the really early stuff, some of like the goofy episodes I really liked too. I loved it. I loved the whole show. And I think the moral's really good. I like the moral in the end. We should love each other. Get out of your box. Talk to some people, and you might find the world's not that, bad of a place to be. That's my philosophy anyway. Either way, there will be a poll. I don't know when. I don't know what's going to be on it. I don't even know if it's going to be anime. I was thinking about doing some manga here at some point, but don't know. Yeah, I'm probably going to edit this tomorrow, so it'll be late. But again, you guys will... it'll be public and on the right date, I think. And Patreon, I'm sorry. Yesterday was a mess. Either way, thanks for watching. Penguindrum, great show. Thanks for watching everything. Thank you. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye. Goodbye.